Good evening, ASW, and welcome to Town Hall with Mr. Zurflu here at ASW. So glad you could take some time out of your evening and join us tonight. We have people slowly coming into our various portals to remind you we're on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. We also project out to Twitter, so if you're one of my Twitter followers, you're able to click on a link there and come live on board. Just want to point out that in all three streams, you have a commenting ability. So feel free to throw your comments in alongside the viewing that you're doing. And I'll see those on the screen and I'll be able to pop those up on the screen and we can answer your questions as we're going through the evening. So please feel free to reach out to me there. This is interactive in that nature. We do record this as well, so it'll be available shortly after we finish tonight, and you'll be able to watch it or share it with others in the parent Facebook group, as well as on YouTube and LinkedIn and at Zimplicity.org or in our parent portal. We really are excited about having these times with you. And really just want to reach out and continue to encourage you to join us for these evenings where we can talk about wonderful things. And here's the first comment of the evening. Hello from PSI. Good vibes. Nice to get together. Thank you, Nikita, for being with us tonight. And Law's out there as well. Good evening from PSI. Glad to have you both online with us. We're just going to get started here with a couple of things tonight. We've got an agenda that really talks about what we're doing on ASW for Ukraine, rounding out some of our ongoing projects. We'll see this group pretty much every time we're together. And then we want to take a segue in and talk about accreditation tonight. So that's your heads up on how everything is looking tonight for presentation. And of course, as always, we'll answer your questions on things. And I've got a new feature at the end that I'm going to try out as well. And that's Mr. Z's 5-minute look at eNotes. So we'll do a little quick review of everything that's coming up for ASW. But let's start by bringing in Miss Mealy, and she's got a special guest with her tonight. Please welcome Iris. Ladies, thanks for joining me tonight. We're going to talk, I know, about ASW for Ukraine, but let me hand it off to you. And Miss Legita, why don't you start with introductions?
Good evening. This is Iris today with me during the town hall. And first of all, I would like to say many, many thanks to all of you from the bottom of our hearts for everything you do to support Ukraine. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your creativity and coming up with ideas how to move and best run our initiative. So thank you. We have a lot to celebrate, and the most important thing is we are open. Our center is still open. We need to continue the work that we're doing, but we are one of the few centers in Warsaw. And as we heard with Mr. Zurflu today, probably in Krakow, we heard that a lot of centers closing in Krakow. So all in Poland, but we are open. We continue providing all support, and thank you to everyone for supporting our cause. And we are the most proud of all our efforts, what students do for ASW for Ukraine. Your children writing letters to schools around the world. They're reaching out to the directors in schools around the world. They're talking to students in many different countries. They're coming up with the most amazing projects just to keep us going. And Iris is one of our most dedicated people in school, in the student body, I would say. She comes with her brother and with her family, comes to Lipova every Saturday and just does not ask any questions, just does what needs to be done, and always with a smile and a wonderful attitude. Iris, can you tell us more what Lipova looks like on Saturdays?
So basically, it opens at 10 and normally will shut down around 1. When you first get there at 10 in the morning, there are people lined up all outside of it, just wanting to get food from the inside. And looking at those people wanting food is just like, it's both heartwarming knowing that they're going to get it and that without Lipova they wouldn't, and so sad to know that all of these people had to leave their homes in Ukraine because of this war. we'll go in, we'll start doing really whatever needs to be done. Most of the time, there's organizing the clothes. We've got so many of them that within the week, within a day, they will just get all messy around. But we'll have to sort them so that people can easily find them, and also so it looks nice, because just because these people had to flee their homes doesn't mean that they deserve anything less than what we deserve. The other main job would be handing out food to those people. So setting out what we call sets, which are just one of all the food items that we have. And what we have varies a lot from like day to day based on the donations that we get of money and what we can buy with that. And we'll hand those out to the Ukrainians who need them.
Iris, you and your friends are obviously talking about this, and it was part of our meeting the other day as well. Do you have a sense of the loss of interest in this? I know we've kind of faced that as we've come back from summer and the school year, but do you and your friends talk about how we can rekindle that interest in this project and bring people back on board? Because we're certainly not done.
I mean, this isn't like cafeteria talk, but we do have another club, Warriors for Warsaw, where sometimes we discuss this. And yeah, this is a conversation that comes up sometimes. I think, as you said, the interest has just died down because humans are like that. We're interested in new things. And then when there's a new thing, that's the thing that catches our eyes. So I think basically just pointing out new things, and I think also going to Lipova, because anyone is welcome. We could take any help, and or like giving donations, anything like that can help you basically, yeah, like you said, rekindle the interest, just because knowing that there are still people out there who need the help will make you give the help, I guess.
Absolutely. And I think it's probably fair to mention that we've refreshed the donation website, and it's got more information there about kind of the recent activities, particularly through the summer, and what our plan is in the weeks ahead, where our focused energies are going, what we're putting our focus into. And a big piece of it, as you point out, is the refugee center. But we also are desperate need still of finding funding sources that can get us through December and keep feeding the populations that are now reliant upon us for the regular weekly or monthly deliveries. And this includes not just Ukrainian people in the east, the western part of Ukraine, but also the orphanages that we're still supporting and the refugee centers that we're still supporting. And we're keeping that going. But the donations need to keep pace with that and get us towards our goal. Are your friends thinking about things we can do to kind of get the fundraising back online as well?
I think basically the best way to get the fundraising back on would just be we need more people to give donations, because the more donations we have, the more we can help recruit more donations just by the pure force of people and money.
Yeah.
The number one thing we need is, yeah, like you said, donations, because we are running out of food, we are running out of blankets, and we are not running out of clothes. So we just need donations of money. It doesn't matter if it's 1 cent or 100 cents, as long as it helps us push forward, because the thing is, like, the unevenness is quite obvious. For example, we have a ton of certain like say pasta, but we're always running out of cereal and beans. So just getting the money to buy those more expensive items that people still need is very important, because already, even when we have everything full restocked for the day, we still only have like the bare staple minimum food things that people could need in their lives. So getting that money to give those people those staples, even though it's hardly anything, yeah, that'd be the most important thing.
And we always talk about how, we're a small operation by comparison to the magnitude of the issue. but every drop in the bucket is going to count here. And now our drop in the bucket is getting bigger because there's less other drops, if you will. So, anything that we can do to keep this going is helping people survive, quite literally, as we move into the winter. We are also asking the kids to talk to parents and get this word shared out there. We need kids to talk to parents who are particularly in corporate circles that might be looking for opportunities to support good work. We're a low overhead, high donation operation that has some wonderful strategic partners. Shout out to those that are helping us provide transportation and logistics, donating that to us. The food purchases are due to the kindness of people giving us access to wholesale pricing on many of the things that we're restocking and then redistributing through pallets going hither and yon. But it all is based on keeping the donations going and helping us make that goal. We've set that goal of $600K between now and December, and we really want to try to achieve that in the weeks and months ahead. Miss Legita, you've got a good handle on the upper school group as well, and the other things that they're planning. Anything else on the horizon that we should be thinking about? And can you remind us one more time what the times are for volunteering at the Lipova Center, the ASW for Ukraine Center, as we like to call it?
Yes, the hours are on Tuesday through Friday from 9 o'clock until 12, and Saturday from 10 to 1. And we have a lot of projects coming up, and maybe Iris can give a little bit of secret, invite everyone to the high school play where you guys gonna do what? Iris, want to talk about our little plans and give the secret out?
So what's happening with the high school play?
We're going to be baking cookies for the high school play at this other club called Warriors for Warsaw. Where I might have talked about it before, but yeah, we just help really anyone and everyone. So we're baking cookies for the play. Intermission,
and when please come and watch the play, and for intermission you will get to try wonderful Catherine cakes. Catherine has her own bakery, and she was kind to share her cookies, her recipe with us. So please do come. And tomorrow, all the high school students, we will be serving maybe bubble tea, maybe coffee. Please come, and for sure we will be serving carrot juice, healthy and tasty. So please do come tomorrow during your lunches, and all this proceeds will go to ASW for Ukraine, of course.
So again, the partnerships and we're good at baked goods. I have to say that as a school, we're very good at baked goods. So we'll keep that process going as well. Well, thanks you two. I appreciate you coming and giving us the latest update on this. I wish you all well. Thank you so much for your efforts, and pass that on to everybody on your teams. It's just absolutely brilliant, the work that you're doing, and we're just going to stay the course and look for everyone to continue to share this message as broadly as they can so we can keep this work going. But thank you both for being with us tonight and for everything you do every day.
Thank you all. Thank you. Have a great evening.
All right. Bye-bye. So that's ASW for Ukraine, and the work continues on. Again, I can't do enough to say to our entire community, please consider helping us spread the word, keep it going further and further so that we can continue this work for the people that we're serving. And again, please do go to the Rally Up site, and that's accessed through our ASW.org. aswarsaw.org website, our main website. You can find the links there to the Rally Up site and to all of our efforts in this regard. Again, re-energizing it and getting it moving forward so that we can keep these efforts going at the current level that they're supporting people. Tonight, we're going to talk about another topic, and that's called accreditation. And so to help me with that, first, let me bring in key player working partner with me. Please welcome Melissa Shaw. Melissa joining me tonight on Town Hall. Melissa is our new Associate Director of Learning for ASW. You've met her at a couple of parent gatherings in various venues around the school in the early weeks of the school year. But Melissa, why don't you say hi and introduce yourself, and then we can move on to talk about the topic and bring our other friends in.
Absolutely. Well, good evening, everybody. It is very exciting to be here in Town Hall. I have watched Town Hall from afar as a Facebook watcher, and it's very exciting to now get in through the back door and actually be here with all of you, but as part of the community. So this is very exciting. I am coming from most recently Lagos, Nigeria, and I must say, as the season is changing right now, it's so delicious to be putting on sweaters and to see the gray and the rain. And so it's been very exciting to be here in Poland. Over the last month, I have been able to really immerse myself in everything ASW and learn, and it's been an incredibly exciting time. I'm also a mom. For those of you who may not have heard me share that very important part of my life, I have a senior this year, and once again, I sing praises because he has just landed beautifully. He's really, really happy, has just come in from a game out on the field with a local team, and that was exciting to watch that tonight as well. So always something exciting going on at ASW, and it's really great to be a part of it. So.
And if I'm remembering correctly, you had a major milestone moment today, the first elementary student hug.
I was going to share that. I'm so happy that you remembered that. It really was so exciting as I've been trying to get to know kids and meet them. I did. I got a hug in the middle of the hall, and that was absolutely fabulous.
That's a pivotal moment, I know, as you're getting to know a new school. So it's really great that happened today. Yeah. Well, hey, let's bring in our other guests here. First, Rachel Caldwell, who you know from last town hall, was here with us as we talked about our PSI partnership. And Rachel, I'm going to bring in Cindy to join us as well. So why don't you say hi and then do introductions of Cindy for us as well?
For sure. First of all, I would just love, John, if it's okay. First of all, thank you for having me again. And I'd like to add my praise to the commitment of Iris and her friends for everything that they're doing as they highlight this ongoing horrendous 7-month war that our neighbours are experiencing. It's wonderful to hear a student with such dedication as hers. So I felt I needed to say that. And then I would love to introduce Cindy. Cindy appears to be in the dark at the moment.
She's right there.
It's like a magic trick. That's lovely. So Cindy I will let Cindy actually talk about accreditation, but Cindy is our Director of Learning and also our Director of Technology currently, and is taking a lead together with 2 other wonderful colleagues, Skye Salverson and Alexander Best, on our accreditation process this time around, and a wonderful job they are doing, that's for sure. We're wholly satisfied with our choice of protocol, which is shared with ASW, a lovely synergy that we've uncovered early on. We are both in the process of implementing the collaborative learning protocol, which is a fully aligned IB and NAASC, New England Association of Schools and Colleges, for those of you who tire a little of our use of acronyms, process. It allows basically for a single and cohesive authorization and accreditation process. So it ensures that we can look after the compliance that's so important. We do that first, and then we launch into this wonderful focus on learning, which covers the IB standards and practices and NAASC's ACE principles, learning principles. So we're grateful for the leadership that Cindy and the team are showing, and also for our community engagement, which has led us to this moment where we are just beginning our reflection process. Yeah. I will leave it up to Cindy and Melissa to share more details about all of that.
Yeah, I just highlight, I thank you for saying that, because that's the synergy, right? Is that we're both in the same process. I think you're just slightly ahead of us. And we're kind of putting a heads up to parents tonight that this is an engaged process that they'll have a role to play in. Mm-hmm. And so for the audience, that's why we're doing this tonight, is to give you that advance notice of opportunities that you'll be seeing coming in the weeks and months ahead. that'll engage you in this process because you're important stakeholders to this process. And so with that, yeah, let's hand it to Cindy and to Melissa and have you guys take us through accreditation and what it means to a school.
Thank you so much, John and Rachel, for the lovely welcome. And happy to be here with all of you to have an opportunity to talk about the important role that accreditation takes in schools. As you can see on the slide, it talks about quality assurance and global recognition. But for me, the most important aspect of accreditation is that it helps the institution, the school, grow and continuously improve and transform the student experience through a process where the accrediting teams of NEASC and IB work with us to understand where we are and help us grow into the future. Melissa, you want to add?
Yeah, I do. I think in just talking a little bit about accreditation and the process itself, there is that wonderful component of being able to take a look at sets of standards of excellence and do some reflection on where we are and what we need to do, as Cindy said, growing into or towards certain aspects of them. But there's a real wonderful opportunity for our community to do a deep dive into reflection and reflection on who we are, who we continually strive to be. And that notion of transformation that underpins the process is also just supported by what we call colleagues. They really are critical friends, colleagues who come and support us through the process and provide that outside or external set of eyes as we engage in the self-reflection process. So it's really nicely balanced and, again, always aimed at ensuring that we are the best that we can possibly be.
And as both Rachel and John have shared, our organizations are the New England Association of Schools and Colleges and the International Baccalaureate, and they are the ones that are sending a team to come and work with us through this process.
And I would, if I can just quickly add, especially as we're looking at this particular slide, at ASW, we are entering into this specific protocol, which is called the ACE protocol, for the first time. And it's very unique compared to past organizations in that while we have the same sets of standards that are very typical, they're the normal facets of a school that you would expect that we would be focusing on. They have done something slightly different in saying you are a learning organization, and therefore so much of the work around your self-reflection and the goals that you set are all about learning. And they really lifted the level of what we were doing to that point of the student. It was not so much that organizational piece, but it's about our kids. It's about the learning and the stories we tell. And that's why we're really excited to be engaging in this specific protocol, because it gives us a whole other way to tell our stories and to be focusing on our growth as an organization while we focus on the growth of each of our kids. So we do have a couple of components. And one of those sets of components is the standards. Cindy, do you want to unpack those maybe a little bit?
Yeah, and for NEASC and IB, they one of the nice things about this protocol is they've separated out the learning principles so that we can focus on those, but also make sure that we are providing the kind of environment that is necessary. And so those important foundational standards that are ensuring we have in place that is needed to ensure that the safety, the security, the sustainability, the finances, the ethical practices, all those pieces are in place. And that piece is done during the first phase of the accreditation process. And that, as I understand it, is the phase that ASW has just completed last week. And we at PSI completed last spring, which allows us to really understand where we are with that regulation side of things so that we can move into the next stage that is all about learning. So talking a little bit about that, this slide gives us a sense of what the timeline for the collaborative learning protocol is. And that first part that's in red, that's the component that allows us to look at those foundational standards and start the process of really understanding who we are as a school and as an organization. PSI did that piece in March and ASW just last spring. And I'm super excited that on the 15th of October, we are going to have an opportunity for both schools to come together to have a collaborative learning protocol workshop led by Darlene Fisher from NEASC. And she's going to be leading both teams into really understanding deeply what the protocol allows for us to do and help us guide us through what does it mean to do a deep dive and consider what approaches might be most helpful to ensure that we get the most out of this experience. And that, Melissa, go ahead.
No. Go ahead, finish up. It's fine.
So that then launches us into the period of reflection where we have an opportunity to really spend that time in teams considering what the learning principles, and we'll get to that in just a second. And we then end up spending roughly a year looking into the learning principles and coming up with ideas for future areas of growth and designing how we see the future of our institutions moving forward. Melissa, what will you add?
Yeah, and just because it's really fresh, we have just engaged in a visit. We had parent participation, so some of you who are watching tonight, you may have actually been involved. But just last week, we had a 3-day visit. It was a virtual visit. It was really an excellent opportunity for the team to visit our school based on the preparatory report that was submitted in August. So that report was worked on over last school year, and it was submitted. And then the visit is where the team has an opportunity to meet with every stakeholder group. And so they were able to meet with our students. There was an elementary meeting. There was an upper school student meeting. They met with parents. They met with the board. They met with teachers, again, across the elementary and the upper school. They met with our staff. They had an opportunity to learn about our service learning work, our diversity and inclusion, and they spent time with the leadership team, about maybe 3 or 4 sessions, really digging in to understand the curriculum and what we've been doing around learning. And so what we will do now is await their response from that visit to our report, and they will add and give us some guidance and feedback as we move into this reflection process that Cindy just noted. So that work for us begins after the workshop that's also been shared on October the 15th. And we will then at that point be looking at how to put together teams of various stakeholders, and we'll be hoping that our parent community will join in on that. We'll have students and of course our faculty and staff.
And just to clarify the dates, I mean, the winter we're talking about is this coming winter and carrying us into January, probably February, and then moving into that spring time frame after the new year, so that we can be ready for the fall come 2023.
And through that process, we've made a couple of mentions to the learning principles. And here you'll see that NEASC has outlined 10 interlocking aspects of learning that break down different ways that you can approach better understanding how learning is presented and manifests in the experience of the learner. And the idea behind the collaborative learning protocol is that from these 10, we will then, as a community, choose 5 that we will then use as our deep dive reflection to consider who we are and how we want to grow into the future. And that's a process that the PSI community has just been undergoing, and we will be announcing on Friday which are the 5 learning principles that we have chosen. So look out for that communication so you can better understand what we have moving forward. And we'll use those for the next stage of the process. Melissa, you want to talk a little bit about the principles?
I think just for us, again, as noted, once we receive the return report and have that opportunity to engage in the workshop, our team will come together and engage in that same selection process, choosing the learning principles that are most aligned with the work that we are currently doing, and most likely very much aligned with our strategic areas, and would also then engage in a communication process, so that everyone in our community knows exactly what we'll be digging deeply into over the next year.
You know, I'm fascinated to see what your school chooses as well, Melissa. Having just been through ours, there was the big reveal today for us. And I think the most satisfying part of this was how much student voice was included in the selection of these principles for us. It really was quite important. And I think another experience of this process that's important to share is the report was such a motivational document following the visit. And I think that's not as usual in other accreditation processes. And it re-energized us in our focus on the learning in our school and community wide. So I think you have lots to look forward to in the process as well.
Yeah.
I think we saw evidence of that already in some of the student meetings that the virtual visit had. And certainly as the iPads were roaming around the building and as they were interacting with kids in the classroom, it was a wonderful feature of giving us that insight again, that collegial spirit, but looking at what kids were doing. So like you, we expect that the student voice in this will be strong.
Yeah, very exciting. And it's important that they're part of the process.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of the process, just to share a little bit about what is ahead of us for the PSI community as we go into this reflection period, is we will be forming 5 teams based off of our 5 learning principles, and where each team consists of members of the student body, the parent community, and the faculty, so that they were able to get multiple perspectives to help us really understand where we are and where we want to move forward in that deep dive experience as we consider designing the future of PSI. Melissa, you want to add anything else?
Yeah, on that same vein, we will be gathering teams. At this point, we don't have the exact number. We know that, again, once we've gone through that workshop and we've got some clear feedback, we'll start to put our structure together and engage our community in the same way.
And again, it's important to recognize that that's a big function of an accreditation process, is to establish that next pathway, the next journey, if you will, of growth, and really help us refine any strategic work that we're doing that also aligns with the big goals in learning and continuing to develop as an educational institution, assuring that we're aligning our practices with what we want to become. Got a good base, both of us do, in the things that we've done with our staff. And this is about really amplifying the things that we've learned along the way and beginning to take the next journey, which is to go even further.
Yeah, and I think once upon a time, accreditation processes felt scary, and the community would feel very nervous, and everybody thought, oh, there are right answers, and we have to say the right thing. But we've really moved into a time where this process is meant to support us, to help us, to drive our work. And just even in this conversation, when we think about the whole community being involved and being excited to be able to have learning principles that come out in a drum roll, to have kids' voices really be part of this process of moving our schools forward. It's a very exciting time, and for any community, it really is a gift. It allows us to move ourselves and do so, especially in this context, alongside of each other as a family, we can support each other and collaborate in the process.
Absolutely. Final comments, things about accreditation, heads up on things on the horizon here. I think we've captured a good sense of it, but please throw anything else out there that we need to tell the community.
I think my last words are just an excitement to get all members of the community involved in this process because it's richer with the involvement.
Absolutely. We look for that and we hope for that in everything that we do, that all of our stakeholders have an equal stake in it. So wonderful. Thank you, ladies.
And I would just add, I think this sort of opportunity of the two schools, continuing to share is unique.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine it's happened anywhere else, and maybe a while before it happens anywhere in another context. So to make the most of that and really genuinely have this reciprocal relationship about how we go about sharing and moving things forward will be really special.
And it's important to underline that it's not just about the joint workshop together. That's a unique, wonderful piece, and we'll have a lot of dialogue and collaboration. But I value it's going to be the hallway conversations. It's going to be sharing our different insights into our own identity, sharing that with each other, and helping to inspire things that we might not have thought of had we not had this opportunity together to share that across boundaries. So yes, let's definitely put an exclamation point on that. We're doing this together, maybe at a different pace and a different place, but definitely together.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you joining me tonight to give me and the community this insight, and thank you for all the work that you're doing and that we're all doing together to make this come together as such an important component of what it means to be a school.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
And with that, I've got one last feature to share with you, and then we'll let you get off to your evenings together. This is Mr. Z's new feature of 5 minutes with eNotes. So I'm going to walk you through eNotes really quickly because I'm not sure that you're all necessarily doing your read on Wednesday that you promised me when you came to this school. So I'm just going to walk you through really quickly and talk about it in 5 minutes. So time me. It's 7:37 and I will be done in exactly 5 minutes or less. First of all, you've got the introduction piece from myself. I try to highlight things. A big shout out to our Jewish community and Rosh Hashanah. I think I'm saying it right if I say Shana Tova. We really want to wish you a happy new year under the Jewish calendar. Vaccinations are getting ready for the weekend. There's still a few spots left, maybe a few more opening up because I noticed that there are a couple of cancellations. So check again if you didn't see one and be sure and log in. Voting is still going on for Americans, so absentee ballots are being received here. If you want to drop them off, that room is open daily 8 to 4 through Friday. If you want to meet with a representative from the embassy about voting, they're here Thursday for the last time, 2 to 4 p.m. That's tomorrow. School-wide news, just a welcome to Marco. He is working with our development office, and they've got a wonderful opportunity for you to combine cooking classes with getting to know our ASW for Ukraine along the way. So please take a look at that information and join in if you can. Save the date for class number 2, which is Wednesday, October 12th. From the elementary school, just a thank you for back to school night, a reminder about grade level guides, and tomorrow is the next parent engagement workshop. So a highlight on the assessment cafe at 8:45 a.m. in the Annex Building multi-purpose room. Please come and join elementary. A few other reminders about MAP and progress reports coming home soon. Upcoming parent workshops, a big highlight for our counselors who are doing wonderful work in this regard. Both about emotional regulation and Opal Play. Upcoming dates are summarized here for you, so please take a look at those. Again, if you want to contact the school, this is always a good place for us to find out about how to make sure that you're contacting the school in the right way, so please review that. And a Counselor's Corner Parent Workshop, a little bit more detail about that and the regulation coming up. In upper school, thanks again for attending the back to school night. It was so great to see so many of you out for both of those nights. And so kudos to all of you who came and joined us for this session and got your running shoes on and made it to every class. You did an absolutely fabulous job. Reminder of no school on Friday, September 30th, as you know. Little heads up on the process for parent-teacher conferences that will be virtual and scheduled in PowerSchool. This gives you a heads up on some of the dates and the early access and the things that we'll be doing to get that out to you. Also, map results in high school, just like elementary. University events is always a key feature in here, so please make sure that you're taking a look at all of this. And also the SRT fair coming up, taking a look at all of that. We have past events also here with links to the slides and the information about those events, so be sure to take a look at those. And then we jump into the Warrior update and the athletics community, all the trips that are coming up. Say hello to Mr. Lennon, Warrior of the Week this week. We have a reminder of kind of protocols. We have multiple leagues that we're involved in, PAC and SKIS and CISA, and all of that's explained here so you can get a sense of the dates and what's coming up. The soccer tournaments and the cross country primarily in the days and weeks ahead. But lots of events to put on your calendar here, looking all the way into May. And then links here that are really important that share with you what the middle school activities and clubs are and how those things are coming together. And then a big shout out to PTO and all the wonderful decorations showing up around the school. So great to see everybody, and make sure that you're connected to the mission and vision of the fall time. We really want to thank PTO for getting all these wonderful things up. Note the links for sharing your ideas, suggestions. And then United Nations Day. Let's not forget, it's coming up on Wednesday, October 19th. Here's all the details to sign up. Please go into this and read it carefully. Become part of this and work with the team to get the best UN Day on record. And there, yes, I agree with you. Beautiful. Thank you, PTO. We're really appreciating you. And let's keep rolling on that. And then also a reminder about your PTO contributions. Remember, the grade levels have all asked you for a contribution to help defray the cost of the things that PTO puts back on for kids on a regular basis. And that includes a lot of special activities at the senior level. So there's an additional contribution there. We really like to see everyone participate in this. So please reach out and read this direction so that we can get it going. PTO store got a lot of volunteers. They have new clothing in place. English conversation group, saw them and the Polish conversation group in the cafeteria here the other day. Lots of wonderful things going on there. And then finally, we've got art related activities that we finish out, and the PTO book club and the PTO board member vacancy. If you have an interest in joining the PTO board as secretary, please reach out. And there you have it, Mr. Z's 5-minute review of eNotes in quick order. You now have all the information you need to know by reading your eNotes. See how easy that was? You can all do it. So please, Wednesday, follow through on your promise, read your eNotes, and make sure that you're tuned in on everything ASW. Well, that's it for me tonight. It's been a wonderful town hall. I want to just go through a last bit of dates that I have on my slides. I think I covered most of these, but be advised, IB Global Conference, we have a group of staff attending October 6 to 9, United Nations Day, the Fall Musical, Zombie Run, the Board of Trustees meeting, Parent-Teacher Conferences on the 13th and 14th of October coming soon. ASA Season 1 ends on October 21st, and we all go to an extended fall break, October 24th to November 1st, which is a Tuesday. So be advised that based on capturing the holidays, we have a longer fall break this year that continues into the week following for a couple of days. That means the next town hall is November 2nd. And I'm going to suggest, I'd love to have your feedback on this. I think I may run a live town hall for those who want to be in person as well as a virtual one. So look for information on that soon. And I'll be gathering you together, possibly in the theater for those who want to be face-to-face, and we'll live stream it still, as we always will, so that everyone can be involved wherever they are. So with that in your minds and in your thoughts, and with you all considering how you can participate and be part of ASW, I thank you for your attention and your time tonight. And from ASW and from our hearts, thank you for being part of this wonderful community. Have a wonderful evening, everyone, and I look forward to our additional opportunities all the time to be together.